with Paul Daner, Mark Shalafoo, from listener questions to some running gags. Insider stories, ambush life, that dad life, and respect for flags. Kick off the weekend, alright? It's the Growler Friday Show. It's Who Dey Light.
All right, welcome into the latest edition of Who Dey Light. Paul Daner Jr., Mark Shalafoo here with you on a Friday of Jets weekend. Bengals coming off their big win against the Steelers last week. Fans are in a much better place, Mark. I feel like we are not really being asked to pull people out of depression anymore, which is a much easier place to have a Who Dey Light episode, I feel.
I know. It's a lot easier lift for us this week. Looking at the inbox, people aren't on the edge anymore. They're not questioning whether it's worth going on with their lives. So we appreciate that optimism. It's starting to feel like fall in Cincy, which I appreciate, that crisp, cool air. You've got the Ghostbusters flag up, I'm assuming, for Halloween now. I do. The Ghostbusters flag. It had it was briefly taken down for the birthday flag was up for like a day. And then, of course, Halloween had to return. Much respected. It's a Ghostbusters flag, and you didn't go with like a pumpkin or anything like that. I feel like that's the proper way to do that. And sometimes the flags, it can be a little bit of a letdown what you choose for the holidays, but Ghostbusters and Halloween, you crushed it there. Thank you. It's one of the few good decisions I've made, and I'll take credit for it. So I'm happy about that. But Halloween right around the corner, that's going to be great. We've got 2 home games at 1:00 on Sunday. Even better. Can't ask for anything better going on right now. Also, we are going to have our next live show is kind of going to be a show, but it's more of a hang. We're going to be at the VIP room at BetMGM. I see are you wearing your BetMGM hoodie? Yeah, that they gave us at the last live show. I'm like, all right, I got somewhere to wear this is just to help promote the next one. But I think that's going to be fun. A little Growl Pal hang. We're taking over that VIP room and we're going to be watching football. It's not like just a random show up, go up thing. We do want you to send an email to the growlerpodcast@gmail.com to get on that list. But we just kind of want to watch football and hang. Yeah, we're still going to have the same. This is going to be during the bye week, the 1:00 window on the bye week on November 9th. And so we're going to be in there. You'll still be able, we'll have boosts for the game, the special boosts that, we only give free money and winners out to. And we'll still give away tickets, which will be to the next home game, which is against the Patriots. So you can still win tickets just by coming and hanging out and watching football with us in an awesome VIP room. I don't know how else to sell it other than that sounds pretty cool to me. But we'll be having a good time. And we're doing something a little different that we think will be fun. And that VIP space is awesome. So I highly recommend, if you have ever wanted to or think it could be fun, send us an email, thegrowlerpodcast@gmail.com, and let us know if you want to come, how many people you want to bring, and we'll get you on the list for that on November 9th. So keep an eye out for that. All right. We got a bunch of stuff to get to, a bunch of questions. So let's just dive right in. Tell me, what is your favorite Bengals story of the week right now, Mark? Well, I guess I have to start with a mea culpa on how much I wanted Jameis Winston to be that emergency trade quarterback. I stumped for him on this show because my reasoning was very simple. I wanted a guy that could chuck the ball to T and Jamar so they'd be fun to watch, and I wanted a guy who would be a great quote in the locker room. When the Joe Flacco trade happened, I thought like, wow, this is just another Bengals front office mishap. This is not going to work. This isn't the play. And it turned out that I was very, very wrong on that. So I need to own that. That's my Miles Murphy 10 sacks prediction right there. It's just not wanting Flacco, wanting a different quarterback. Because you know what? At the end of the day, the vibes are great again now, right? I mean, that was an awesome win. He put up a lot of points. And also, it turns out he is a decent quote. Like, he's had some funny stories in press conferences and interviews and stuff. And so I've got mad respect for him on that front as well. Yeah, I mean, he is – I really enjoy it. It's nice that you have a guy who's a dad. His family, his dad, people he hangs out with outside of his life, his kids, rather than, like IG models or whatever else is going on there. So that's nice. But he's very, like, relatable and approachable. I want to play if you haven't heard this quote from yesterday. I mean, the moment you heard it, you're like, oh, that's it. Yeah. That's going to be a thing. This is actually Joe Danneman posted this video
and he has received much engagement for it. So kudos to Joe D for getting that out there. This was a question that he asked about kind of being a dad right now as all this craziness is happening with him in Cincinnati.
How are you navigating being a dad?
Well,
This is happening.
the good thing, I guess you could say, is that I was in Cleveland by myself. You know, my family was in New Jersey. We decided to do that this year because last year we decided to do it the other way, and this year we just said, hey, let's keep the kids in their routine and see how that goes. And there's been challenges with that. I love being there and around them and doing all those things. But at the same time, like, they get in their routine and they're having a lot of fun back at home. And early on in the season, they came out to Cleveland and they're going to come out to this week's game. And I think there's always a challenge of sitting in a room by yourself and being lonely. So for me, it's trying to find ways to maybe stay over here a little bit longer and then, just kind of take myself out of that mindset, call home, go sit at a restaurant by myself and realize that, man, that's pretty enjoyable to do. After there's not too many situations. I tell people all the time, I used to see guys sitting at a bar by themselves or, just sitting by themselves eating and grabbing a little meal. And I'm like, man, I feel so bad for that guy. Like, you almost want to go join him. And now I realize, like, that dude was in heaven. And not to say that that's obviously not what I want. I'd rather be at home sitting at the dinner table with my kids and hearing what the hell they were talking about all day. But if you have to do it, then you might as well take advantage of it. So, just little things like that.
Are Cincinnatians starting to see you at restaurants and take pictures and say hello?
I guess so, maybe a little bit. I try to get there early. I'll go eat the 4:30 dinner and beat everybody out of work and out of the house.
As a comedian, Mark, you must love to hear him get that laugh, the rewarding laugh that he got for a hell of a joke and a story for a sports press conference.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you have to just judge it against different expectations. It's like a principal getting a laugh at a teacher function where it's like, all right, that's the boss. He throws out something corny. We better laugh. This is a step above that where it's like nobody's expecting a funny story. So if he's got one, they're going to give it up for him. So I can appreciate that. Anybody that's going to get that kind of a laugh in a press conference, that's a good quote right there. And I do appreciate the viewpoint. I eat a lot of meals by myself on the road when you're in different cities. And, that can be a very enjoyable time, especially when you go at weird hours. So it's not so crowded. I do think that maybe somebody should start hanging out with this guy. Like at this point, like maybe somebody could be his friend on the team. Like even my daughter's kindergarten has a buddy bench that you're supposed to sit on if you want somebody to play with. So they see you and they include you in the game. It's like, we kind of need somebody that's going to go get a cup of coffee with Joe because he's kind of lonely.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that a couple teammates would be like, "Hey, do you need a friend? Like,
Right.
do you want to have dinner? Like, if you're ever at a point where you're looking for someone to hang out with, here's my number. Feel free to reach out. Love to hang out with you just for a minute. But who knows? I do love also like really leaning into the elderly quarterback concept of being like hitting the early buffet. I mean, it's just
So
it's
on brand.
right on brand.
Yeah, you can't
Right
top
on
that.
brand.
I do
No.
think though, like, what he said is true, but there's probably, he shouldn't be afraid to have some teammates come out with him because who else likes avoiding their kids? People that live in town with their kids. They probably want a little break too. So, maybe the two of you can go out and escape your kids together.
Yeah. He offers an excuse for that person to get away from their kids as well. The problem is there aren't a lot of people on the team that have kids, and certainly none that have 5.
Right.
So I appreciate his desire for some peace and quiet.
The dads need to stick together because at the end of the day, it's like if you get invited by Joe out to dinner, you can't bring your kids to that. That'll just make them sad and depressed. So that's your excuse to your family that like you guys stay here and eat mac and cheese. I'm going out to a nice restaurant with my new quarterback. How do you feel about this whole situation? Because you're always rooting for yourself. It seems like Joe's a good quote. Do you like having to interview the guy, getting those quotes in the stories and that kind of stuff?
I mean, he might be the best story going in the NFL right now if it continues like this. I mean, who knows what's going to happen he could have a 3 interception performance against the Jets and everything changes pretty dramatically. But like, if it goes in any way like it has the first 2 weeks and the Bengals stay relevant, I mean, he's so likable. I mean, you sense that just in the way the league has reacted to his run here, and the fact that he brings out the best in Jamar and T, who are also very likable. It's quite a story. Yeah, rooting for us. This has been a pretty huge win for us. At the very least, it's provided us some relevance for about a month, and see where they're at then. But yeah, it's been great. And there's finally someone on the team who's closer in age to me to talk to. It's
such a huge win for the olds.
It really is. You never thought that it was going to come back around for us olds, but here we are enjoying our moments.
Now, do you think if he continues at this pace that he would be in contention for the comeback player of the year, since it seemed like the criteria for that award changed a little bit with some of the contenders last year where it didn't have to be just injury related? Could he get it for being like an old guy that is good again?
Could the comeback player of the year award come down to 2 finalists, Joe Flacco and Joe Burrow, against each other?
That would be fun.
Is that possible? If Flacco does just enough to get them back to relevancy and hang in the playoff picture, then Burrow comes back and leads them to some wins and some kind of a playoff run, and then they face off.
The game's biggest prize.
The game's biggest prize. Only in Cincinnati would there be a battle with 2 potential comeback player of the year candidates. But no, it's been great.
What's your favorite story this week?
Okay. You would think sometimes we are very football heavy here. And, we want to really dig into, go back into rewatch. And we did 40 minutes of DJ Turner's evolution through film and talking to coaches. And you heard from him and Zach Taylor and Al Golden. And we had Chuck Burks on, the cornerbacks coach. And we do that. And then sometimes we just want to show you Andrei Iosivas' billboards that involve him only wearing an apron. Jeremy Rao from Fox 19, our good friend, posted this yesterday. So this is near the Bengals practice field. Not thankfully for Andrei, not facing the Bengals practice field. Where his players would be looking up and then he's staring down at them for those of us that are just listening to this, he has no shirt on. He's wearing only an apron that says, I think it's Weber's mustard. And he's holding the mustard. He's got eye black on and he's flexing. It's exactly what you think it is. And all I'll say is I cannot imagine being Andrei if that was facing the practice field and the amount of hell he would be getting from his teammates having to look up at this every day. It is facing the other direction. You know, it's funny. On what is facing the practice field is a Kroger billboard for bananas that says like a great tasty snack or something like that, which I feel like that's actually what the Iosivas billboard's probably supposed to say. But it is incredible.
I've heard nothing about this, and this is shocking. That is kind of a very dramatic looking billboard. I've never heard of this brand of mustard. All I can assume is that the bottle is very durable, so you can drop it as much as you want, and it'll be just fine. And that's how he got his job as the spokesman.
There's actually, well, first of all, the mustard, I believe they also do pitching change commercials on Reds games because it's one of my favorite things that my kids and I always laugh about whenever we had the Reds game on is the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley. Like he is there to give full effort on every rep, every game, no matter when in the season it is. And when it's time for the pitching change, he always says the line is put some mustard on it. So he always drops a big, strong put some mustard on it. And we just, and so like that line has gotten used a lot around my house is all I'm going to say. So then there's actually another billboard
Oh, no.
that this is on the viaduct, and this is a little more saucy, a little more, he's got this, like, looks like, what is that? A satin button down in that stripes. And he's sort of doing a very sensual lean. I just, hey, look.
Mustard has never been this hot. That is the slogan. Well, that's something.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been asked to do anything, and maybe we should consider some sort of a calendar, a growler calendar where we do this. So I don't know what I would say. I would assume I would say no, but everybody has their price. Someone offers you money to take a couple of pictures. You would. Actually, the story that I heard was that his agent lined this up, and they basically showed up at the shoot and was like, okay, I'm doing a mustard commercial or billboard or something. And they're like, take your shirt off and put this apron on. And then he just looked like, and now it's this, and now it's become this. So sometimes it just happens very fast and you don't know what's going on.
It looks like he lost a bet, because that's what it seems like, You have your friend that had to spend 24 hours in a Buc-ee's or something for losing his season long. But this is what that feels like. Like, it doesn't seem like something he's paid for. It seems like he just got the short end of the stick on this, or maybe his agent made some bad deals, owed some people, and he's like, all right, maybe we can just embarrass one of your clients and call it even. Because I'm sure he's taking a lot of crap for those billboards.
Yeah, I have no doubt. But you know what? Good for you. Good for you, Andrei. I'm just mostly happy it did not end on the other side of the billboard facing the practice field. We got a question about Yoshi. And maybe this is part of it. Maybe just the knowing that he has to live up to that sort of level has been part of why he's had some issues this year. But the question was essentially about what's going on with him. Now, he is third out of 82 receivers in drop rate. That's via PFF. Third, not good third, bad third.
Bad third.
Yeah. They only had him though with 3. I went back and rewatched all his targets this year.
All his targets. That could have taken you all day.
It took me a good 3.5 minutes. And so he has 20 targets. I have him for 5 drops. I mean, obviously that's an issue, and it hasn't been great, and most of them are recent. But he did have he had the big play down the middle against Pittsburgh, so maybe gaining the trust back little by little. He's never really been a drops guy. He's always caught the ball fairly well. So I don't know, I don't think that there's a, okay, Mitch Tinsley's coming for you. I don't think that that's happening yet, but the drops certainly can only go on for so long until that does start to happen. But he's got to start to live up to his shirtless self at some point.
That's right. When Joe Burrow did the backless suit, he put up an MVP caliber season the next year. Like, he was fantastic. That's what we need to see here. It's just a bit better step up in production, or the mustard sales are going to just fall through the floor at this point.
Yeah. Which is what we're concerned about. One other thing I wanted to mention is, so during the game last Thursday, there was a sort of a viral quote from Kirk Herbstreit that was pretty funny. That was essentially about how he has this group chat with his Cincinnati sports fans, where they're in there, whatever it's the Reds or whoever's playing, and it's called Pain. And people, I think Cincinnati fans very much associated with that. We're like, I get it.
We get it.
I feel like everybody has that type of a group chat with their friends who follow whatever team. I don't know if it's necessarily Cincinnati centric, but the heartbroken sort of cursed nature of Cincinnati sports makes sense there. Liked that, thought that was funny. But what occurred to me was, I now want to know what everybody's group chats names are. Your Bengals group chat. Everybody has one. I want to know what those names are, because I bet you there's 25 of them of Growl Pals that is probably better than Pain. Pain's fine. It's funny. It got the point across. But I feel like if I know the Growl Pals, there's some better ones out there.
And I'm just happy Kirk Herbstreit was talking about anything besides his dog on a broadcast. That was a nice little change of pace. But yeah, we can all relate to that. So we want to hear your names. I feel like that would be Graeters Worthy, don't you? Whoever's got the best one. Like that's got to be a Graeters Worthy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's we judge it to be the funniest, best of all of the group chat names. Yeah, absolutely. Graeters shipper. The Graeters six-pack on your front porch for that. Let's do it. Let's do a full contest.
Let's get those names in. The Growler Podcast at gmail.com. We want to hear those group chat names.
Yeah, send them to us now. We'll do that. Speaking of, I've got time to. Can we rank your tweets? Can I do?
Yeah, that's my group chat. It's just X.
Your group chat is just you
melting
unleashing
down
on X. I gotta say, this was quite the roller coaster. This game.
Yeah.
You know, you went to some pretty dark places, but you ended up in a good one. I think most Bengals fans, but you could really see you going through it. So here, the first one that I got is, does Zach Taylor have any other neighbors who would like to try coaching the defense? Can't be any worse at this point. I mean, it's true. Should you just go down his street and see
who wants a turn?
Else? Yeah, who wants a turn? Take a turn. I like that.
I mean, the defense didn't look good.
No, the defense was not good. After watching Demetrius Knight horribly miss that tackle, Al Golden is going to bench Logan Wilson again. I like that one. One I actually read aloud in the press box for people during the game. I will admit to that. I thought that was funny. But you know what? It ended up in the good place. It ended up here. It ended up in just a screenshot of Google search Santa Clara Hotels Feb 8. You know what?
Start planning the trips.
It's it. It's time to plan it. Everybody's on board. Super Bowl, or maybe you should book it for, go earlier so you can be there for NFL honors to see who ends up coming out on top for the Comeback Player of the Year award.
Yeah, the Joe Show. Get there early for that. I mean, listen, if you can't enjoy, like you said, we don't know how long the goodwill is going to last with Flacco. You got to enjoy every single minute of this. It could go all season. He's a decent player, but he is 40 at some point. Maybe the offensive line lets him down and he takes too many hits or something like that. Maybe, anything can happen. So I'm just going to enjoy every good minute we have of the Flacco era. But you know what? At least the vibes are good right now. We even have our sign of life from Bill this week, who's the emailer that always kind of lets us know where his mental health is at each point during the season. And he reached out after the win. He said, I woke up this morning, realized my must-win armband was still on, and that last night was not a dream. The team atmosphere and feeling of the stadium could not be more different than the last time at Paycor. We have hope. And then he also says this: don't read on the show. Feel free to kill me off like a side character on a crappy action flick at any point if this is getting stale. So even when it's good, it's still got to be bad with Bill. Like, he's still like, go ahead and just kill me off.
Feel free to kill me. It's still there. It's still in that place. But we appreciate you, Bill. We're not killing you off yet. Okay. We want you to live. We care about our listeners.
It's still good times, Bill. Hang in there, buddy. And you know who it's always good times with is our guy, Eric Stanyo. Nobody's in a bad place when they work with him on buying or selling a house. The guy is one of the best in the game at that.
Sure is. We had another Growl Pal sale. I think we talked about them last time. Will and Heather, who had Growl Pals, the latest converts to be Stanyos. We don't have an update on the Stanyo yo-yos, but we'll get to those soon. It sounds like they're maybe in the works. You've got your man. You are a company man right now. BetMGM hoodie, Stanyo hat. You're all the way in.
I should be eating some Graeters.
Eating some Graeters with a Growl Pal shirt on from Cincy Shirts.
That's right.
All of it together. We need it all. But yeah, if you want to be the latest Growl Pal to work with our guy, Eric Stanyo, who is absolutely one of the best in the entire Keller Williams, Ohio Valley region, there's proof. He's in the top 1%, ranked 12th out of 4,212 agents. If you want to be part of that, all you got to do is reach out. info@teamstanyo.com, SZTANYO, or just go to the website, www.teamstanyo.com, connect with him, tell him the Growler sent you. He'll be like, yeah, I know, get in line. There's lots of us here, and be happy to work with you, as so many have before. So, and then get into the referral program. If you refer somebody, or if you come in yourself, you can get one of those delightful hats that Mark was just wearing and also get into a raffle for Bengals tickets, which they're going to be giving away here very soon. So get in on that right now.
All right, you ready for some questions from the Growl Pals? We got a bunch to get through this week.
Let's do
All
it.
right. First one is from a fellow Ohio U grad. He says, "Hey guys, love the show. It's been great watching DJ Turner emerge this season while little else has. It got me thinking about how we haven't heard much about Dax Hill. So my question is, how is Dax Hill doing?"
He's doing good. And I mean that in that tone. There's a bit of a hesitancy, but it's good. And especially when you compare, I would rank him 3rd out of 11 starters.
That's
Now,
good.
The bar is a little low on
A little bit
defense
low.
right now. But I would say they've moved him into the slot, and he hasn't been great. I mean, you've seen great from DJ. We talked, you go to the rewatch if you want to hear more about that. But we've seen great from DJ Turner. I think Dax has been solid. He is coming. I don't mean to go immediately to excuse mode, but he is coming off an ACL. That takes time to get all the way back. He is moving inside of the slot and playing there more after being moved from safety to outside to now back into the slot this year. They've sort of moved him all around, but in there, he is last amongst 18 qualifiers in yards per snap in the slot. He's allowed 27 of 31 targets for 183 yards in there, which isn't awesome, but he's also been really good in terms of making stops, getting in there and making tackles. They've used him more than any corner in the league in the box. So he's down there in the slot. He's playing close to the line. You've seen a bunch of plays where he's gotten tackles for loss. His missed tackle rate is probably league average, which is great. On this team, especially, you see him making plays. He just shows up more, I feel like, than most do on this defense. I think he's one you're building around right now and like where he's at. It could be better. He'd be the first to probably admit that it could be better for him this year, but I don't think it's been bad at all. I think he's been pretty good, and things are headed in a pretty good direction, I think, with Dax. I look for him to be a little bit more ascending this year and definitely into next year when you consider he is a guy coming off the ACL.
So we've had good vibes on this show up until now. It takes a little bit of a dip with this next one from Jennifer. She says she was always a huge Geno Atkins fan. Him not making the list of 52 qualifying for the Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility seems bad, ?
Yeah, it is. I was really curious, when they started that they now have this cut down process. I mean, they always have had a version of this, but there's certain guys that have been in the final conversations in previous years that automatically qualify as among the 15 finalists to be presented to the voters every year. Willie Anderson is in that group. He's an automatic qualifier from being so close last year. But when you have these first year guys, it's like, okay, well, where are they going to land in the conversation? Are they immediately going to be in the room of 15, the finalists right off the jump? Well, for some of them, yeah, probably the Drew Breeses and the Larry Fitzgeralds of the world. But where would Geno land? He was all decade. He had all those sacks, but a 2-time All-Pro, a good, really, really good career, and one that has Hall of Fame type credentials. But will he be the latest in this line of just didn't have that extra, didn't have the playoff run, didn't have the breakout game in the postseason, had 2 unbelievable Hall of Fame level seasons, but did he need another one? All of that. And to not make this cut, I thought he'd be on something like this, 52.
Yeah.
Not even in your first drop in to be in the 52, I think was a little surprising to me. And it's certainly not great for somebody where you're going to have to work your way up the ladder a little bit. That it seems like, well, that to me puts 5 to 10 years on Geno even entering a conversation where he's in there, unless you get some groundswell of people being like, look, how did you miss this? And all decade guys tend to get in that conversation, but and then eventually Aaron Donald's going to come in, and he was Aaron Donald was the better version of Geno Atkins, the undersized defensive tackle who starts wrecking games. So it all ends up being it's definitely concerning. You're right, Jennifer.
This next question is from Mark. That's me. This is a left guard question.
You always are asking me about left guard.
Well, he seemed to play well. Reisner, and I like to get back on the Reisner hype because he didn't do that great on the right side, but he looked fine on the left side. Looked like the offensive line did okay. And then I saw that Fairchild is back with the starters and Reisner's backing up. So what's going on there with left guard?
I think it comes down to this. I think they have 4 guys that are kind of about the same. They're not great. They're okay. A lot of serviceability happening in there, looking for anything. But what they do have is an ideal scenario. The ideal scenario here is that the 2 rookies are good. Zach Taylor talked about them as ascending rookies. Okay. What do we know about Lucas Patrick and Dalton Reisner? There's no ascending happening. They are who they are. And that level may be a touch above Rivers and Fairchild right now. Maybe, I don't know. But it's marginal. And so you're going to try to bet like they're doing all across the team right now on the rookie, on the ascending player, that maybe they'll be better. Maybe they'll be at a higher level once they get these reps in, if it's not that big of a difference right now. I think that's the ideal scenario. That said, I think there's definitely going to be a leash that's pretty short on these guys and I would say Fairchild in particular, when you do have 2 veterans and Reisner, who is in there and things have gone well the last couple of weeks, that are just sitting right there. If Fairchild goes out against the Jets and Quinnen Williams is just eating his lunch for a half, well, yeah, I would think the second half might start with Dalton Reisner out there. But for now, they've bet on Fairchild since the literal moment he was drafted, coming down to the press conference saying the path is there. He's a starter, been the starter beginning of camp, starter at the beginning of the year. He has an injury and he steps back for a second. And they got a couple of games without him. And now, they're going to want to try to get back on that train. They're not going to jump off. So, but I do think, yes, the leash is going to be shorter because you have seen a little bit of how those other guys have been okay. So if it's really bad, they know they can go a different direction.
I just think it's fun that this is a question we get to debate a little bit more. Now the quarterback is settled. We get to talk about the left guard, and it's not a Cody Ford conversation, which is fun. I like that part. But let's pull up the vibes a little bit more with this next one. We got an email from our guy, Glenn, who is always in there on the Growler bets, working the 69 into every single one of his answers. Big life update from him. He had a kid. He had his first child. And so he's got a run, pass, or boot because he just had his first kid. This is a dad-related one, but he did name his kid after the most electric NFL running back from 2013 to 2020. Just don't tell my wife that's the reason I pushed for Giovanni. Great name for a little lad. And let's just say right now, I don't know what the birth certificate says, but I'm going to imagine he listed that weight as 6 pounds, 9 ounces just to stay with his current trends. Here's his quick dad life RPB for you. Best way to stay awake when it's your turn to watch the kid at 5 a.m. after already not having slept all day. Acting like you need to game plan against Jamar Chase. Can't stop watching all 22 footage until you count all 2025 Bengals defense missed tackles, or sending get well DMs to Joe Burrow after calling in backup, aka the mother-in-law.
Well, I mean, to me, I think I'd want to watch Jamar Chase. I mean, I think I always start with, I'd rather just watch Jamar Chase. That's always going to be a good answer, no matter what you're doing. I might stay out of Joe Burrow's DMs. I don't feel like that's a place that I need to go or want to be. But getting into Burrow's DMs versus missing tackles, that's a tough one. I know if a clear run here, I'll probably would still boot the DMs and I'll just watch the missed tackles. At least some of those are funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a question. I have a question for you. I'm going to list you off the first names of some Bengals running backs, and you tell me which ones you would most like to name your firstborn after. Okay. Let's say Giovanni, I'm saying, was a great pick if you're just looking at former Bengals running backs, because there's quite a history here. Ben Jarvis, would you go for a Ben Jarvis?
I would not go for a Ben Jarvis.
Booby Clark? Would you go Booby?
I would not do a booby.
Would you go Icky?
I think I might mess around with an Icky.
Mess around with it. I think you consider an Icky. Stanford? I like Stanford Jennings.
Yeah, Stanford's not bad.
What about Essex?
Oof. Yeah, that's a hard no.
Hard no on Essex?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a tough. Yeah, that kid's not living that down. Essex Johnson, great player, maybe not great to name your kid after.
No.
Derek Fenner, I think, was definitely a felon. I wouldn't go there. Let's see where else. Paul Robinson.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. Paul's a solid one.
Rudy for our guy Rudy Johnson. Rest in peace.
I was gonna say Rudy is a good one.
Rudy's
I feel
got to
like
be the top. The chanting of Rudy is about as good as it gets now, too.
I was even gonna throw this out there. I think you could even mess around with Rudy as a girl's name these days.
Yeah, like Rudy Huxtable. Sweet feet.
Yep.
Sweet feet for all my Cosby Show fans out there.
Rudy might be 1A in this one. Maybe Giovanni's a 1B. I don't know. I do think that we could probably make an equal list of Bengals that nobody's naming their kid after. Like, I don't even think Jackson Carman would name his kid after Jackson Carman, like
I just want to credit your growth here, Mark. That's the first time of all the times that I have mentioned the Cosby Show on here that you haven't really made fun of me pretty hard for it.
I was going to
You're really growing. You're
slide.
really growing. You're turning over a new leaf.
It's like we don't need to hit you for the same things every show.
No,
I don't hold
Miles
grudges.
Murphy.
No, I don't hold up old things like that. I'd hit it once and let it go.
Well, congratulations to you, Glenn. Thanks for the question, and to you and to your son, Ben Jarvis.
Next question is from George. He says, with Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter playing so much as rookies and the defense already struggling so much, do you worry about both of them hitting that rookie wall later in the season?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something you worry about with all these rookies.
Yeah,
I mean, when you're playing this many rookies, you see it. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to some. There's a percentage of all rookies that this stuff happens to. So yeah, I think you're certainly concerned. You're also out of answers. That's why this is so desperate. All of these rookies just being shoved into the equation because they're just this is where it is, and that's a chance that they're willing to take for the chance that they won't hit the rookie wall. And Demetrius Knight, in fairness, he's 25. He's halfway through.
He hit the rookie wall.
He's seeing the twilight of his career is not that far off. So I think he's all right in going through that. But yeah, I'm with you. I think there's a concern there. But we'll see. There's the other side of this that often gets pointed out, and that is the rookie post-bye week bump happens a lot of times where you get a chance where these rookies finally. Now, a lot of times it's just in usage. It's kind of a fantasy thing where you see running backs and receivers their rookie year. Like when a team has a chance to go back and look like, hey, let's give the rookie some more. But he's ready. He's got some more time to work him in, and you tend to see jumps there. I think you could see a similar type of thing. Maybe they hope in play of some of the rookies that are out there now once they get through this bye week here on November 9th. And get to that next, maybe get a little bump from them. But yeah, are you going to get the bump? Are you going to get the wall? That's the problem with rookies. You just don't know. There's nothing to go off of to know. You don't know what to expect game to game, week to week, and beginning to end of season.
And when every single one of these rookies is playing, you're pretty much going to probably see both ends of that spectrum going forward. Although I thought we were going to get more out of Shamar Stewart last game. I thought he'd make a little bit bigger splash, but that defensive line without Trey Hendrickson, Aaron Rodgers just had literally all day to throw the ball. So that wasn't super encouraging.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't encouraging that Shamar played a lot early and not hardly at all late.
Yeah.
So that wasn't great, but again, we'll see. Maybe that will change with the Jets coming to town, who are truly abysmal when it comes to pass protection.
First time in a while, we've had Natasha B in the inbox. She reached out to see that she was curious if Paul and Jay have any insight on Joe Burrow's mindset. He was on the sideline Thursday. Was he coaching teammates up? Was he just sad, Joe? Are there any hints he's excited about a 2025 return? Just curious if there's any nuggets heard by you guys in the locker room specific to Joey B.
Well, he has been around. He's around, he's hanging out, he's doing his stuff with trainers, which is minimal at this point. But the fact that he's around is good. He's not in that boot that you saw all the time. So all of that is good. I came across this. This was something that GQ Sports, Matthew Roberson wrote this, and it was about Joe Burrow using crystals to heal his foot injury. Did you see this story?
I did not see that story. I'm glad I didn't see that story.
Yeah. So when one of the first things he posted on his Instagram was this photo of these crystals all stacked up in whatever, some kind of an order, and it made them to say, hey, we need to look into this, because this is, this is like some witch doctor stuff, the belief in the crystals and all of the chakras and auras and things like that. Like, has Joe gone, is he that in that spot? And it was concerning. And they went and they were like analyzing the crystal grid. I recommend you to go read the story, but they talked to this woman, Lisa Stardust, who's an astrologer at the Today Show, and also moonlights as a tarot card reader. So it's all legit.
Yeah. This lady's an expert.
Yeah. It says, quote, it looks like his crystal grid is arranged in a way that balances the 7 chakras. Some patterns are based on sacred geometry or personal experience when doing it. An intention is set. And in this case, it would be to heal his toe. I just hope that Joe isn't so deep in the tank right now that he has fully resorted to chakras and the whatever gemstones and all of this stuff, because that to me feels like we're like one trip to Oregon away from full Aaron Rodgers territory when you start going this far. I don't want it to. No one wants that. No one wants it to end up there.
Yeah. Well, listen, his family hasn't excommunicated him yet, so at least that's good for Burrow. He still talks to his parents, so that's a good sign for our guy, Joey B. Also, how do we know he's using the crystals to heal his toe? Maybe he's being a team guy trying to heal this defense, and that's what he's trying to do, because he's just putting team first and get them back up to speed. Who knows? Or maybe he's just trying anything he can at this point to get back on the field, even if it is some witchcraft. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. The front office doesn't really show itself to be super aggressive with some of those new trends about like employing some of the data scientists, some of that stuff. And they're definitely not going to hire a crystals person. So Joe's on his own on that front. He's got to find his own experts from the Today Show and his own, tarot card readers and whoever he wants to enlist on this healing team. That's all. It's all on him for that.
You can hear it now after the season. Trey is a need. Lisa Stardust is a need.
Yeah.
Right?
He'll show up at the Comeback Player of the Year award and winning that again. He'll just start throwing the crystals out to everybody like he's Oprah, giving out prizes. You get a crystal. You get a crystal. It just heals the world. This is from Paul C. He says, hope you guys got a bit of a chance to breathe during the mini bye. While the win over Pittsburgh was exhilarating, thanks to Joe 2.0, Chase, and Higgins, it's infuriating how awful the pass rush is. A bad offensive line that had Rodgers zipping the ball out at historically fast levels was dominating and manhandling the Bengals. Rodgers had time to drink herbal tea and unwrap a couple of Werther's originals on every dropback. You've often talked about the Bengals' type on the defensive line. Considering the line against the Steelers featured 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and a couple third-rounders, and they look like peewee kids the way they were getting pushed around, is it time to change up the type that they like? And whose type is this anyway? Is it all Duke? Is it Potts? Is it Dak Taylor? It seems to be an antiquated preference as the NFL evolves towards speed rushers, but the Bengals are wedded to one rigid view. And sorry, but the pass rush, despite all resources poured into it, is pathetic.
It's fair.
It's not wrong.
I was the type that I traditionally have referred to was more of a Lou Anarumo type. I mean, he had he wanted the bigger, stronger edges. And so that's what you could usually find them in that area. I don't think that was solely a Lou Anarumo thing. I do think that they believe in needing to be bigger and more physical and edge setting in the AFC North and are less interested in the smaller guy. That said, you see Al Golden playing the hybrid player, the Viper at Notre Dame, and now he's this guy who can kick inside and out. he's Demetrius Knight. You see him go from linebacker to this outside rush position, and the same thing with Shamar, or the edges that drop. That's we see him do a lot of that. Clearly, he has this hybrid player in mind. So I think they're open to that. I think that type is changing under Al Golden, but I think also the type that exists is this traits-based edge rush prospect. Is, look, give me the guy who's bigger, faster, stronger than everyone else, and they will figure it out. That eventually rises, and that hasn't necessarily been the case. They haven't taken the guy that has more production versus the guy that has more traits. They've been heavy traits team. So I don't, does that change? If Shamar and Miles end up being the same washouts, maybe they reconsider it, but I think there's still a pretty strong held belief there. But, I think the type is evolving under Al Golden, but the question to me is whether they continue to lean into the traits prospects versus the production prospects.
Now that just kind of shows where everybody's at right now in our inbox. We've got some good questions, some happy people. We've got some people that still see this defense for the problems that they have, but this is the first for us. I'm not seeing anybody go in this direction. He also said that the season must be sparked because over the weekend I had a weirdly vivid dream about bumping into Paul in my neighborhood where he was landscaping outside of an auto dealership. That's how far you've fallen in the dream world, by the way. He said, we had a long conversation about several things Bengals. Then he went back to digging out boulders. Not sure what that says about my life, that I'm having dreams about Paul Dehner Jr. Did you ever expect that doing this podcast, that people would be dreaming about you?
No, and I really don't like this. It kind of makes me want to just get out altogether. Like, I think it's time for me to do a few less shows.
Yeah,
if this is happening.
Let people dream about Charlie for a little while, that come across Charlie on landscape duty.
And why can't the dream be me doing something awesome? Why do I got to be digging boulders at a auto dealership? Why can't I be like, suddenly Paul was the quarterback and he threw for 342 yards and 3 touchdowns? Why can't that be it? Why can't I be the one making the good dad jokes at the podium like Joe Flacco, getting all the universal love for it? Why can't I, even in your dream, just be the guy sitting alone at the bar drinking by himself?
It's kind of
be doing this hard manual labor.
Of all the dreams that you could have in your personal life just to spruce up your night, I can't imagine going on a walk in your neighborhood and talking to a beat writer turned landscaper is all that exciting. You guys could have been astronauts in space fighting aliens or something like that. Instead, you're going to talk ball while you take a break from your landscaping job. Not that exciting.
Yeah, Bengals fans are still kind of in the bad place mentally, which I think this is proof of that.
And the last question that we have is somebody wants an update on the Jermaine Burton situation. Has he stayed away from the casino? Does he have his rent paid on time? When is this streak of healthy scratches going to end?
I don't think anytime soon. I don't think it's going great. I don't think that the trust that everyone's been hoping would be rebuilt, I do not think has been rebuilt. I think that especially, it's something we've talked about in the past, but like when placed up against Mitch Tinsley, who's turned himself into the ultimate does everything exactly right and makes plays guy.
Yeah.
It emphasizes how Jermaine has not been that. I don't think that there's almost anything in the way of trust that exists with Jermaine right now. It has not been clean behind the scenes, I don't think. Now, I can't speak to the casino or the slot machines or rent or evictions, but I don't think that the trust that you wanted to see has been rebuilt. No. And I think that the healthy scratches are going to continue. And I would be really surprised if he was active this year. It could happen. Think about it. We saw him damn near active when everything was going on last year, and played in games. And so, that week after he didn't show up to the practice on Saturday and everything, and then the next week he had opportunities after that. So anything's possible, but it is absolutely not in the plans right now for him to, develop some kind of a role. I don't think that trust exists.
I'm just very proud of myself that I've made it this long without looking to see who was drafted after Jermaine Burton and McKinley Jackson that the Bengals could have had with those third-round picks. I have stayed strong in that respect, and I'm going to try and hold out as long as I can before I get super bummed about how those picks were just lit on fire. Growler bet this week. What was the Growler bet?
Growler bet this week, it goes back to Jets passing yards. Jets passing yards, they are last in the NFL in passing yards per game. In fact, it was net passing yards is the Growler bet, and they actually had negative, I believe it was negative 10. I should have double checked that stuff, but it was negative. It was negative passing yards in their game in London that they lost to Denver. So it has been bad. They don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. Apparently, trying to pretend whether it's Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor is going to really keep the Bengals on their heels. I think anything can keep this Bengals defense on their heels, which is kind of why I find this a very fascinating Growler bet. It could be anywhere. It's too immovable. Can the Bengals defense actually do something, or will this pathetic Jets offense actually do something? I don't know. Something's going to give.
Yeah, and you know what? You've taken a lot of heat in the past. I know people have called you Paul Downer Jr. and that kind of stuff, but Jay with his stats lately has been a little bit negative, and I think the emailers have picked up on that. I saw one Growler bet call him Jay Morbidson, so I think, he might be taking some of that heat off of you and going into new territory with some of those sad stats that he's trotting out.
That's a really good one, Jay Morbidson. We need to get that to get some run.
Morbidson keep pushing
and
that.
Downer.
Yep, just the sad stats of the week. That's good Who Dey Dark characters for you guys to really embrace it if we ever do one of those. Growl Pal Spotlight this week. We didn't have anybody specifically reach out with something new, but this is the spot in the show where we showcase, cool things Growl Pals are up to, whether it's a small business like the guy that had the mobile detailing service that we hooked up another Growl Pal with, and he did not get murdered. We've had people looking for organs. We've had other charitable causes, but this is the first time we heard back from somebody that we plugged, because we saw the Caricos at the live show, and we had talked about the golf outing that they had for their son a while back, and good Growl Pal support. They said that they had their highest fundraising year ever. I know that Stanio was there with some golfers and I think one of his kids, and sponsored a hole. So thank you to everybody that supported them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jeff and Marge came up to the show, sat right up front. It was really great chatting with them and getting to hear more about their story and the charity. And yeah, it sounds like it works. So shout out to the Growl Pals. You guys always come through. We can always count on you guys. You guys are awesome. And glad to hear that worked out well, and good to see Jeff and Marge at the live show.
Quick stand-up comedy plugs as we get close to wrapping up here. I'm going to be in Nashville on October 27th for the Nate Land live show. Omaha, November 6th through 7th. Lexington, November 14th through 15th. And then Goshen, Indiana, November 21st and 22nd. And then this is a big one in December 12th. I'm headlining in Louisville at Planet of the Tapes. Those tickets just went on sale now. A bunch of other cities up there too at my website, markshalafu.com.
Kind of ironic, you're going to be in Nashville at the Nate Land show while Nate is here in Cincinnati this weekend.
Yep.
At Heritage Bank.
Yeah, Nate will be here with his crew, and we're gonna not cross paths until Monday when I'm back on his territory, back in his turf.
Yeah, it's great. I am headed to the Saturday night show.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Very excited about that.
That'll be a good one.
Went to the one last year and or whenever that was, maybe it was 2 years ago when he came, and loved it. And so looking forward to it again. Should be great. I'll just yell your name in the middle of the show and just to give a shout out.
Really
I'm sure that'll they love that.
You know what? Listen, I mean, he's put my stuff out on his social media before, so I appreciate everything that he's done for me. He put my thing out on his channel. So every time I get a shout out on their podcast, I always get a bunch of texts and stuff. So I'm not going to start any podcast beef with the Nate Land guys, especially since I still do Nate's show fairly regularly. So they get survived. They get to, we'll spare them that. I know we went through with New Heights and we had a lot of beef back and forth. They tried to steal guests that we had. We tried to steal guests that they were going to have. And, it doesn't always go to a good place, but I've got none of that beef for the Nate Land crew.
And I thought it was really big of you to say that even though Taylor wanted to come on our show and talk about her new album. We thought, given everything with their relationship with Travis and Jason, that they should probably have that. I just thought that was big of you, and you don't get enough credit for that.
I don't.
And being the bigger man and understanding that would have probably been better for their relationship.
There are just some lines we don't cross on this podcast. We didn't start this show to be ruin families and relationships, so we decided we're not going to go to those depths. I don't know if they would have had that same courtesy to us. Who knows? But we weren't going to go to that far down.
No, we won't do that. What do you have for Dad Life?
Halloween is coming up, and this is our second year in our new house. And I feel like we've moved to a neighborhood that's maybe just a little bit too full of spoiled kids, because we had this last year, more than one, come to our doorstep. And instead of asking for candy, they asked for canned goods that they could donate to a local food pantry. And it's like, hold on a second. That is not what this holiday is all about. I didn't spend over $100 on candy just so you get to be the hero. I'm the hero on Halloween, right? I'm getting the kids all the candy. And, you want to help the poor? I'm helping the poor just as much, because I'm trying to help these poor candy makers that are working under slave conditions in their chocolate factories, being forced to sing songs while they work. Nobody's thinking about them. But what happens when people stop buying the candy because we're just giving out canned goods all of a sudden? Those people are going to lose their jobs. So maybe, try to be a little bit more thoughtful next time, I guess.
Yeah, really inconsiderate of the kids there. Do you have direct knowledge of the workers singing while they're putting the candy together?
I saw a movie about it. There was a documentary about a chocolate factory. Kids died.
Yeah, I haven't caught that one. I didn't catch that
one. But it was pretty dramatic. It came out a long time ago. There've been updated versions of it too. And yeah, the little orange workers. It's not a great place to be. So don't take it out on them. Keep supporting what they do. Buy the candy for the kids. Also, don't go to this place either, because in the old neighborhood we did have a few people that were like super into their church. That's fine, but they'd put little religious messages on the candy. Nobody needs that. No 8-year-old is like, oh, I was on the fence about organized religion, but then I got some Smarties and now I'm rethinking everything. Just give the kids normal candy.
Just give the kids normal candy. And fun size. I'm not a Don't try to big time your neighbors by being the one that has the like full size Hershey bars or whatever.
We have 3 of those on our street. 3 full size candy bar people, including the people that are our direct neighbors. So I feel like I can't do that because I'd be stealing their thunder, but it really does make you look bad.
Yeah. You kind of want to just stand in front of their house and be like, are you trying to embarrass me?
Yeah. Why does this look like a gas station?
Yeah, exactly. Can't do it.
What do you got?
Well, for me, I think it's time to discourage reading with my oldest daughter. And I mean that. So it was readathon at school. Like my daughter is, voracious. There needs to be a new word for reader. Like she loves to read more than anything else. And it's awesome. So I'm no one would ever in their right mind discourage this incredible habit and hobby. You could only wish that this would be the thing that anybody's kid would be into. Just can't stop reading. Literally does the walking down the steps with the book in front of her face type stuff. Like can't put it down. The problem is like at times, whether it's at near bedtime or we're hanging out after dinner or wherever, truly when she's reading, you are not there. No matter what you're saying, it doesn't matter. You can't interject in a conversation. You can't say anything. And she'll just pick up a book when you're not looking. You were having a conversation in the middle of it. She just picks up a book when you're not even paying attention. And next thing you know, there's just no answer back for like a minute or two, or until you realize you have to go over and like shake her or put your hand in front of her page in order to talk to her. And I'm like, at what point do I have to step in and say, that's enough with the reading? Okay, it's gone too far. I just never thought that I'd come to this point, and I'm kind of at a point where I don't know when I'm supposed to say this is got to be a no reading zone.
Yeah, you want your kid to stop learning though? What's the alternative? She'll get into other hobbies. What if she starts a podcast and becomes more successful than us? Like, do you really want to have to go toe to toe against your own child?
Yeah, you're right. We can't have that.
I think she might be just in that situation now where she's got like the reverse Flacco situation where she's like, Dad, why don't you go out to dinner by yourself? Get some alone time so she can stay home and read her book.
Yeah, that's probably what comes next. And it probably is better. I would say that Babysitter's Club probably has better advice for her than anything I have to offer anyway.
I mean, she could be on an iPad. It could be a lot worse than reading the printed word.
I know. Like I said, I don't want to be the one to come in and be like, look, that's enough. But I do think at some point it is important to not just think about how disrespectful it is. Just sitting there and be talking to someone, all of a sudden they just look at you and go, and then just start staring at their book instead and literally stop listening to you. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Forces you to be better. Forces you to be on top of your game. You have to be more entertaining, more informative than whatever book she's reading at the moment. That's a better conversation for everybody is how I see it. I'm with her on this. Keep reading.
Yeah, I don't like the chance of me being better, more entertaining anytime soon. So Babysitter's Club it is. All right. This was good stuff. Next week we're going to be right up against Halloween next week. Dey Light Halloween weekend, Bears weekend. We'll see the tone in the inbox depending on what happens Sunday at 1:00. Of course, prediction show. Charlie pinch hitting for Jay, who's off in bonfire drum circles on a beach somewhere in Florida right now. So we'll have Charlie and I breaking down everything to expect from the game against the Jets. Charlie will be joining me on the walkout on Sunday, which will be coming to your inbox and in the YouTube channel after the game. Make sure that you are subscribed and getting all the alerts and everything for our YouTube channel and in all the feeds. Go to thegrowlerpodcast.com if you have any thoughts or are interested in seeing what's going on, knowing our schedule for all of our live shows. All of that stuff is up on there. So we hope that you will keep listening. We'll keep cranking out the content for you. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.